Hello and welcome to this episode of Exit Through the Gift Shop, the podcast where the rides might be over, but the opinions are just getting started.
We're Rob and Matt, theme park nerds, pop culture obsessives, and the duo behind It's Rob and Matt on YouTube.
Expect park news, Disney drama, Universal updates, pop culture chaos, and probably a few hot takes along the way as well. So grab your overpriced churro.
Join the virtual queue you'll definitely miss.
And let's get into it. Okay, so Magic Band tapped and podcast loaded. Today we're jumping into our Fast Pass the news, getting into the Disney adult, and also taking a little hot take break as well. So let's get into it. Okay, so welcome to episode 4.
Episode 4.
These are coming around fast, these are.
They are coming around pretty
For
fast.
us anyway.
They are coming around pretty fast, yeah.
I don't know if the listeners / viewers feel the same. They might be eagerly waiting, but for us, these feel like they're coming around really fast.
Yeah, they do. Definitely.
So it's been a bit of an interesting couple of weeks when it comes to theme park news. Again, most of the news is coming out of Orlando.
It is.
Which is to be expected with everything that's going on there at the moment, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. So once again, we've obviously had a couple of weeks to plan another podcast. And in those couple of weeks, so much has happened again. But it's good. It gives us plenty to talk about.
It does give us plenty to talk about. So the starting point of this week's Fast Pass the News is that Muppet Vision has now officially closed.
It has. It's done its last show.
I'm really sad.
It was quite sad, actually. And it's quite weird that I say that because it's not a very nostalgic ride for me. Because obviously I didn't go to Disney World until I was a little bit older. So it's not really a nostalgic ride for me at all. But we have done it every time we've gone, have we not?
I think so. I don't know if we did it. We did it the first time.
Yeah.
Or did we? Did we skip it the first time? Didn't you? You didn't want to do it the first time we went, so we skipped it.
Well, now the reason for that is because I just thought it was some kind of 3D cinema thing. And I thought, oh, not another 3D cinema. I can't bother with, watching Muppets jump around. Put 3D glasses on, watch the Muppets jump around on a big screen and things get thrown towards you and you go, whoa, whoa. I was like, we can't deal with that.
Like Connie, I shop for kids. It's Disneyland.
Yes, especially the first time we went, I thought, we've got better things to do than to mess around doing that. So we didn't do it the first time. So I wasn't really that interested. And then I think the second time we went, I kind of thought, well, we've not done it, so maybe we should. And I'm glad that we did because it was great. And it's not just a 3D. Yes, it has got that element that I've just described, but it's not only got that element.
No, I think it's an interesting one because we did it as kind of it was when we were going to After Hours, wasn't it, at Hollywood Studios?
Oh yeah, so I think we did it
just the time.
Yeah, just before After Hours started. So yeah, so we found the window to get it in.
Yeah,
I am glad that we did.
And then I loved it.
Yeah, because I love the way they put that together. I thought it was so good. The way you've got the practical elements. We can talk about it now. No one's going to ride it again.
No, exactly.
The practical elements. You have the live actor in there.
Yeah.
Then you have the screen stuff.
The animatronics.
Animatronics in
the whole place blows up.
Yeah, it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Put it that way. I made a judgment on it without really going on it.
I think because at that point, I don't think we'd done Mickey's PhilharMagic either.
Didn't we do that the first time we went though? I thought we did.
Can't remember. Maybe we did. But yeah, actually we did do that the first time we went.
Because I'd never been in like a 3D cinema, if you like that, where they have practical stuff going on. You know what I mean? Where they have animatronics in there as well.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a screen with glasses on, which is what that one was like in Asterix, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Although that did have animatronics in the back, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
That was very much like Mickey's PhilharMagic. Magic.
And I think what we're taking, because I also had never been in a theatre like that before, what we're taking experience from is the Discoveryland Theatre at Disneyland Paris, where they currently have Mickey's PhilharMagic, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Because it's lacking all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And before that, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was in there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I was comparing it to, and that's very lackluster in my opinion. So yeah, it was. I'm really sad to see it go. Actually,
it is a shame it's gone. And again, we're back on this whole Rip Ride Rocket thing. Like I thought we'd get one last go at it this year, and I'm surprised because obviously I think it's not obvious, but I think it's out now, isn't it? That Monsters
Monsters taking that
Monsters Inc. is taking the area, taking the space, and we're not getting Monsters Inc. until 2028.
Yeah.
So
That's a whole chunk of Hollywood studios closed for 3 years.
yeah, 3 years. It just seems very, very early to kind of take Muppets away so soon. But I guess they want to get it boarded up. They want to start the work, depending on, the coaster that's going in there. It depends, I guess, on what work's got to be done.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there isn't a building there big enough for this coaster, so they're going to
I'm
start.
guessing it's got to be flattened.
Yeah, they're going to build a building,
Yeah.
I suppose. So whether the theatre building is coming down to then put this building up, I'm not too sure what exactly they're doing, what buildings they're using, but maybe they're putting an extension on it.
Maybe.
It that way. I don't know, but it's
Yeah, you know how
it
much
just
room there is to expand out back.
no, I don't think there's much from what I've seen. On what I've seen on like aerial shots, it doesn't look like there's much room there. But yeah, I don't really know where the expansion bit is going, if I'm being honest. But I think it just feels a little bit early for it to be gone. So I thought we'd get another bash at it this year.
Yeah,
I'm quite surprised that we're not going to. So that one's took me by surprise as well. Orlando's just taking me by surprise at the moment. It's craziness. But yeah, so yeah, we've lost Muppets now, and it seemed very. I saw a few bits on like TikTok and that of what was happening and everything. It just seemed really. It just seemed really sad. But at least we're not losing Muppets from the park completely. We are keeping the Muppets. We're losing Aerosmith. Don't think I mind.
That's not
to be honest. I don't think I mind losing Aerosmith. They've been a part of the park for a long time. And if I'm honest, if you said to me Muppets or Aerosmith, I'd be like, well, it's not Aerosmith Christmas Carol, is it? Do you know what I mean? So yeah. And Muppets Christmas Carol is one of my favourite Christmas movies.
like Aerosmith Treasure Island.
No Aerosmith Treasure Island. So no, I think it's right to keep the Muppets in the park, and I think this is. I think this will be quite a nice alternative. It might not hit quite as well, but I think it'd be a nice alternative, and at least we'll keep them. I don't think we'll get anything major happen to Rock and Roller Coaster. I think it'll just be a quick overlay, if I'm being completely honest. Changing pre-shows, changing some theming, adding some characters and stuff. I don't think it's going to be a massive overhaul.
No, I don't either. Obviously, it's going to have a new song.
Yeah.
And it's going to have some interesting elements, I would imagine, put into it.
Yeah.
They're going to have to change some stuff.
The shop.
Yeah.
The shop's very Aerosmith, isn't it? The way it's done, like all bandy. The whole is going to have to change.
The whole queue line and everything is going to have to change.
Yeah.
So whether they do it as like.
So there's me saying it's not going to have it's not going to have a massive overhaul. It's just going to be a lick of paint. Maybe it's not then.
But they could do it as like a Muppets recording studio, and like that's Figgy is the main event.
Yeah, this is what I think they're going to do. I think it's going to be like I think the roller coaster trains will stay the same. I think they'll still look like a limo. I think they'll just take Aerosmith out and replace it with Muppets. That's what I'm expecting. That's my expectation from this overlay.
I think that if they're doing that, I'm fully on board. If Miss Piggy's going to be like the main event and she's going to be like the star of it, as like the lead singer or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it is still going to be music themed.
And the rest of them are going to be like the band.
Yeah.
That's what I think they're going to do.
Fine with that. Because she's an icon.
That's what I think they'll do.
She's she's on par with fortune teller Mrs. Potato Head from the Toy Story Mania queue. Iconic. Fine with that. So yeah, they did do, on the last day, I saw that the queues reached an hour, and normally that's a walk on. So that's good going.
Everyone piling in to get a last ride on it.
Yeah, for the tribute to all countries, but mostly America.
Because they've obviously given people notice.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone's rushed to ride it. Just a shame that I say ride it, see it. It's a show. Yeah, just a shame that we're not going to see it again.
Yeah, but we did do it last time, knowing that it might be the last time.
Yeah, we
had
photos in Muppets Courtyard.
We did,
just in case, didn't we? We had photos in front of the fountain.
Yeah, the Miss Piggy
just in case.
I am going to miss the most themed bathrooms in Hollywood studios, because they're pretty cool. My other concern with this, which has only just popped into my head, is we're getting rid of 2 food outlets.
Yeah, Pizza Rizzo.
Pizza Rizzo and Mama Melrose.
We've never been to Pizza Rizzo.
I know we haven't, because it's rubbish pizza.
That's what I've heard.
It's made by a rat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've never been because the pizza isn't our type of pizza. caters to some people, but I think for families and stuff, especially with younger kids who may be a little bit more fussy,
Yeah.
it's a really solid option, and it was quite popular with them.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering now if we're going to see everywhere else get busier because those two have closed.
Well, this is an issue with Hollywood Studios, isn't it? Because everything's busy there.
Mhm.
All the queues are ridiculous there, and it drives you mad when you go there. And now closing, I mean, it's only a theatre, I suppose, but still closing these areas is not going to help
No,
at all.
I think in terms of crowd level, the closing the theatre probably won't make much difference because it was almost always low capacity. It was almost always running low anyway. But actually, the food outlets might be more of an impact.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's that area that I always moan about?
The weird courtyard bit where the Star Wars
Yeah.
encounter is,
Yeah.
and the Little Mermaid show, which is reopened, and then there's the Disney Junior show as well.
Yeah, there.
I don't know what that area is called.
I'm so shocked they're not doing anything with that.
I'm shocked.
So shocked.
With that, they feel so disjointed now to the rest of the park.
Yeah, I'm so shocked they've not put Monsters Inc. in there to do something with that area, because that area to me just feels weird and dead. And we always walk past it. We never bother going down there. The Star Wars stuff in there is quite cool, but I think I would prefer that Star Wars stuff to be moved into Galaxy's Edge.
They can't though, can they? 'Cause it's supposed to be two different time periods.
We can make up some kind of, there can be a way of doing it. We can make up some kind of, you step into this thing and it sends you back in time. I don't know. Warp speed into 1970s and there's Chewie. But then again, Chewie lives in that world anyway. I suppose Darth Vader
Vader thing, isn't it?
I suppose Darth Vader doesn't.
Because
But don't you feel though that Hollywood Studios is so weird and disjointed now, because you go over there and you've got Darth Vader meat, which is part of the older stuff before Disney owned it. Then you've got Chewie right next door, and then you've got BB-8 meat in there as well, which is part of the
new stuff.
Part of the new stuff. But then you walk a little bit down the road and round the corner, and you've got Star Tours there. Then you walk a bit further down, then you go into Galaxy's Edge. It's like,
To be honest, I think we could just
it's just a mess.
get rid of the Star Wars encounter.
Yeah, just a mess.
I don't actually know how popular that is. It never seems that popular.
I was going to say there's massive queues when we went in, but it was May the 4th, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was May the 4th that day, because we waited an hour to meet
that's
Chewie.
why it was busy.
Yeah, it was May the 4th. So I don't really know how busy it normally is in there. And how long,
we did.
yeah, and how long you have to queue normally in there to see these characters, because it was May the 4th, the day we did it. So my understanding of how long the queue is skewed by the fact that everyone wanted to meet Chewie and everyone wanted to meet Darth Vader.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, and the BB-8 meet weren't particularly. We didn't get Darth Vader in the end, did we? We did Chewie and BB-8, didn't we?
Remember the cast member for BB-8?
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that up.
It was really sarcastic and it just kind of ruined the whole experience.
Yeah, it was just like, just get me out of it.
Yeah.
Why is this girl being so sarcastic? I really,
Yes, we realise that we're fully grown adults talking to an animatronic.
Yeah,
But you're encouraging us to talk to the animatronic.
I really didn't like it.
No, I didn't either.
I'd like to try that with one again,
Okay.
with a different cast member there,
Okay. I'll be
because
down trying that again.
I hated it last time we did it.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
Um,
So that's Muppet Vision.
Looking forward to seeing it grace the rock and roller coaster overlay. Looking forward to seeing what they're doing with that. Like I said, I don't think anything with the coaster will change. I think it would just be a theming and an overlay kind of thing that's going to happen.
The trains might get a respray, maybe. I mean, they spent all that time working on it, didn't they? They closed it for a long period.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything particular with the coaster is going to change.
No.
It will just be an overlay.
Yeah.
Like I said, we might get a repaint here and there, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with it, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's Muppet Vision. Next on the list is a first look at the new. We've had a first look at the new trains for Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift over in Universal Studios Hollywood.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I'm not interested in this franchise whatsoever, I hate this franchise. The trains look cool.
They do, don't they?
Yes.
They look like trains you've seen before.
They do look like trains. I was if your thoughts on that. Where could that be?
Where could that be? Yeah, so the trains are if I can get a shot of them, I'll probably overlay it now just to give some context.
If you're watching,
Yeah, for anybody listening, you'll have to go and search it.
Google it.
Yeah. But yeah, it does look cool. I guess it's supposed to be like cars that are swerving round. What's it called when you
Drifting.
Oh, horrible drift. Drifting, yeah. I used to, I had a mate at school that used to do that
Really?
as a hobby. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, they're like drifting out. They drift, don't they? So I guess it's supposed to be like the cars drifting and stuff like that, which is cool. So could this coaster that's in there now be what we're getting to replace Rip Ride Rocket?
Maybe
You're getting the same
okay.
technology with the same kind of cars, but maybe they're Ghostbusters cars.
Maybe you turn. Spoiler alert: the cars turn.
Yeah, the cars turn.
Exactly in exactly the same way as they do on
Guardians.
Guardians.
Yeah, so if you've been on Guardians, it looks like it operates very similar, but it's a different manufacturer. So I guess Intamin, who have put the Hollywood Drift in,
Yeah.
have kind of cloned the technology.
Yeah. It's not exclusive, is it?
No.
Intamin created the technology. So the reason that I've just like pulled that face then was because what if, stay with me, what if we get some kind of Ghostbusters coaster where the cars turn like that, like they do when you're on Guardians and you look it down at Earth.
Yeah.
And where you're spinning around like that and you're looking at something and you're like shooting the ghost. And there's all like stuff that comes out of the car. What if that's it?
Yeah. I reckon it might be.
I think it might be.
I think it might be. I wonder if we're getting, I say we're getting, I wonder if what we're getting in Orlando to replace Rip Ride Rocket is this, but themed to Ghostbusters and Ghostbuster cars instead.
That'd be so
That's
cool.
that's now my thought. Now I've seen the trains going around the track. I'm now thinking that might be what it is.
That's very cool. Like I said, no interest in Fast and Furious, so don't put Fast and Furious in. Universal Orlando, if you're listening by chance, don't put Fast and Furious back in. You've just taken Fast and Furious out. Don't then put coaster in.
But is that why I took it out? To put the coaster in?
I hope not. No.
I don't know. Watch this space for that one.
Oh, Ghostbusters, please.
But yeah, I think Ghostbusters would work a lot better, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with the firehouse.
Yeah. But what's interesting is
what if that's the queue line?
What?
Going into the firehouse.
Maybe. But what I was going to say was they've already started work because they've already started boarding it off, haven't they? They've already put construction walls up around the firehouse.
Yes, you're jumping ahead to a point in the news.
Okay, let me skip that. So what is it? Oh, okay. Let me stop. Let's move on to the next point. Anything else about this?
Nothing about Hollywood Drift.
It looks good. It looks a good coaster.
It looks like a good coaster.
Yeah, if you ignore the franchise that it's part of.
The coaster's cool.
Yeah, the coaster is good.
Just that's what we're with Vin Diesel. It's Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You can tell how much interest I pay.
He's the one that holds on to the helicopter.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah. This is why I don't like it. It's ridiculous,
and he's too big.
Yes,
scales all out. Yeah. Anyway,
so next point in the news is waffles are back at Sleepy Hollow.
I didn't know waffles were gone.
Well, waffles weren't gone, but when we last went, do you remember Do you remember the downgrade we got? Waffles had changed. They'd been downgraded.
Did we do this on the Mickey's Not So Scary?
No, we did it our first morning in Magic Kingdom, as we always do.
Did we?
And every other morning.
Why was the waffle? Remind me why the waffle was different.
Because the waffle sandwich had gone, and our portion sizes had been cut to a Mickey waffle. And it came as a Mickey waffle, and you were like, "What the hell is that?"
Okay.
The waffle sandwiches are back for everything.
Did you think they just ran out of waffle sandwiches and just went, "Oh, just put Mickey waffles on"?
It's an iron. No, they went, "I don't know, we can save some money."
Somebody
cut the portion size and charge the guests more. No, but waffle sandwiches are back, which is very exciting. A lot of fans are very happy about it. I've seen a lot of praise for the fact that waffle sandwiches are back.
I will also be very happy about that. Then.
Me too. And this year, I'm going to
favourite breakfast.
I know it is, but I also really want to get the chicken and waffles.
Yeah, this is a thing I never thought I'd like. Until I started going to America.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, chicken and waffles is a thing.
Chicken and waffles.
If you'd have told me a few years ago before I'd been to America, chicken and waffles, I would have laughed you out of here.
You used to say I was weird for eating bacon and maple syrup.
Yeah.
Pancakes, bacon, maple syrup.
Yeah, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand what the hell was going on with that. I thought it was crazy.
That's so nice.
It was crazy. I was like, "What is going on?" But now we've hosted this guy. But now we've had the chicken and waffles. I'm like, "Oh, I understand."
It's the sweet and the savoury.
Yeah. It's weird.
And
It's weird how that
what
works.
the kind of maltiness of the buttermilk waffle. Oh, yes. So good. So yeah, they're back. So I'm very excited.
That's good.
And you might as well take the next one.
Oh yeah. Construction walls are already up at Rip Ride Rocket.
Who knew?
I don't know. Well, we've not talked about this already. Sorry, I stepped all over that point, didn't I? Yeah, so construction walls are up already around the firehouse at Rip Ride Rocket. Is this just a temporary thing? Are these up now? It's a bit early to get them up. They seem very anxious to get this coaster down.
They do, don't
Don't
they?
they?
Yeah. I also saw, the other side.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is the photo that I saw. The other side, as in City Walk side, when you
Yeah.
walk from Studio to Islands along, don't go towards City Walk and round, go along that kind of side path that we've been down before.
Where Toothsome is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tucson, World of Sports or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Not World of Sports, I can't remember what it's called.
Whatever's there, yeah.
The sports bar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you walk along there. If you walk that way, there's where you go in for like the tours and stuff, that entrance.
Yes.
Construction walls all up there as well, I think.
Is there?
Yeah.
So we're already putting construction walls up where we can.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the 18th comes, so they're literally going to put this coaster in the bin, aren't they?
So what are they doing? Are they already kind of planning out foundations? What are they doing?
Groundworks.
Yeah, I think they're doing groundworks, whatever they're putting in, if I'm honest.
Groundworks.
I think they're kind of running both alongside each other. It feels to me like groundworks are starting for the new coaster, and they're still running the old coaster, so they can go in and go, right, rip it down.
Rip it down.
Rip it out, finally.
Rip it out, yeah.
Been saying it for years.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
It's exciting.
I love that they seem to be moving really quick on this.
Universal don't stop, do they? But they're like, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, it was like when they built Velocicoaster, wasn't it? It had gone vertical and everything. There was a top hat and everything. There was construction walls with the Jurassic logos on it and all that. And they were still pretending like nothing was going on. And then eventually when they started, I think, testing it, that's when they went, "Oh yeah, we're building a coaster."
Yeah, we're building a coaster, and it's Jurassic World themed.
Yeah,
just so you know.
Yeah, the official announcements came when they started testing it, I think.
There was literally a top hat on it, and they were like,
yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Track everywhere, top hat. It was quite obvious that they'd built a coaster. You could see it. And they were just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then all of a sudden, and I feel like that's what's going to happen here. I feel like actually they'll Rip Ride Rocket down, put this new coaster up there and just go, oh, by the way, we're replacing this coaster.
Oh, and by the way, it's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
See you in 3 months.
Well, I hope it is. I hope it's Ghostbusters now. I really, really hope it is.
Disappointed if it's not.
I know, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where we're at for the news at the moment in terms of theme parks. There's not a lot coming out elsewhere that I've seen that's anything.
Not a lot going on in the UK.
Not a lot really. The main kind of, oh my God, this is happening, is all happening in Orlando at the moment. There's not even much coming out of DLP the past few weeks. So
all gone a bit quiet over there.
All a bit quiet. But I'm sure that as construction continues over there, there'll be stuff to talk about. So,
well, they've closed all that area up by, sorry to like drop another point in. There is a 0.5 here that you've not written anything by, so I'll take it. All up by Cars Road Trip.
Yeah.
You know that joke of an attraction. Cars Road.
Everything.
Yeah, Cars Road Trip. That is all closed off.
Oh.
So I don't know what they're doing up there.
Right.
Don't know.
Well, they've also announced that.
I wonder if they're doing some work the other side of that construction fence and it's too close to where guests are going to be. So maybe they're literally building up against that fence now and are like, oh, it's too close to where guests are in case we drop anything or maybe whatever. So they've closed all that off now, so you can't get up there. I don't think it's closed for very long.
No.
But at the moment, it's all fenced off up there. You can't get up there.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I did notice.
Although by the time this goes out, that might not be relevant.
Yeah. But one thing that I also noticed, just while we're talking about DLP and the studios in particular, is that I'm pretty sure they announced that the next pass holder party is going to be in the studios.
It is, yeah.
In Construction Wall City.
Yeah. That's an interesting choice. I don't even know what the theme of the party is, do you?
I don't either. We're not pass holders anymore, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, it might be next year.
Maybe.
Maybe next year when Frozen opens and everything. Maybe we could try another year as a Disneyland Paris pass holder.
Maybe.
But we are holding off that at the moment.
Yeah.
Just because there's too much going on over there.
It's not worth the money at the moment, I don't think.
No, I don't think it is either, which is a bit of a shame. Although I did want to go and see that new parade that we're not going to see now.
The music festival one.
Yeah.
Kind of gutted about that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, me too.
So, should we move on to our main topic for this week's episode?
Yeah, okay. It looks very meaty, this one.
Now, there is the reason that there's so much in our little show notes is because there's an official definition. I say official, I'll explain. However, we wanted to get into, or I thought it would be quite interesting to get into the Disney adult. And the reason for this is because I've seen quite a lot of hate coming towards the Disney adult recently. There's a lot of content going around about if you're an adult and you like Disney, you go to Disney without kids, you're mentally challenged. If you're a Disney adult, then you're mentally ill, and all this kind of stuff. A lot of it on kind of TikTok and Reels. Now, I know that you've seen quite a few, but those are Disney adults showing why Disney is
Yeah,
good.
it's a contradiction. Disney adults are using. I know the audio you're talking about is a particular audio. I don't know where it comes from, but it's a particular audio that Disney adults use to then show. And then all the imagery is of why it's cool and why it's such a good thing. So it's a contradiction between the two.
Yes,
which is what it's about.
So there is that one that's going around, and that is kind of doing the rounds. I think that came from either a podcast or an interview with somebody where he basically said Disney adults are mentally ill.
Yeah, I don't know where it's come from.
However, there's also a lot going around. I'm not just talking about that one. There's also a lot of people talking about the Disney adult at the moment because there's a certain creator who, we're not getting into this, but in my opinion is creating rage bait content.
So yeah, I guess so. If you're on TikTok and stuff, you'll probably know the creator.
You'll probably know who I'm talking
about. But yeah, I don't really want to mention the name.
We're not going to get into it.
But I know what you mean.
But because of said creator, there's a lot of non-Disney people talking about this creator.
Yeah.
And then going into, oh, you know, if you're an adult and you like Disney, then you know, that in my opinion, there must be something wrong with you. You must be mentally challenged. Why would you go to Disney without kids? That's just weird. And all this kind of stuff. So I thought, why not get into the Disney adult and talk about why it's a thing, what our opinions are on it, why we like it.
This could be a very lengthy topic that you're letting yourself in for here.
Yeah, I know. But it's fine. We're here for it.
Okay.
So
buckle up.
Why do
buckaroos?
Why do Disney adults get so much stick? Do you think?
Because it's a place for kids. Apparently. Because I guess Disney, or let's say, because I'll tell you why. Because the way most people understand and know Disney is the cartoon films, the cartoons, and people will say the cartoons.
Yeah.
Oh, them cartoons. You like Disney? Oh, them cartoons. We're in that for kids, because people see these cartoons, if you like, as that they're for kids, because cartoons are for kids, because that's the way everyone's been brought up, that cartoons are for kids.
That's the way society tells us.
Yeah, that's what society says. But I think when it comes to those kind of things, I think there's different ways to look at those animated movies, not cartoons. There's different ways to look at those animated movies. And yes, they're bright colors. Yes, they're in cartoon form or animated form. So they are easy for kids, and they are easy for kids to understand and things like that. But when you look at these movies and stuff, the stories and the messaging behind these stories is so powerful. The only reason you say it's for kids is because it's animated. In my opinion, I think that if you look past the animation, look past the way it's done. I mean, look at things like Family Guy.
That's
animated. You know, look at South Park. That's animated. but that's for adults.
You wouldn't sit a 4-year-old in front of South Park, would you?
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
You could go on. Rick and Morty. You could go on and on and on with all this stuff. Just because the art style is animated doesn't mean it's just for kids at all. I think when it comes to Disney movies, a lot of the time you can appreciate a Disney movie as a kid. And I'm guessing majority of people who are into Disney now as an adult probably did.
Or brought up on Disney.
Yeah, you brought up on it. So you understand it. You watched it as a kid. But then as you get to an adult, do you not then appreciate these movies for what they are when it comes to the backstory of them, the actual, what the actual movie is saying, what it's about? I think you look at Disney movies in a different way as well. And when it comes to did you ask me that? What did you ask me?
Why Disney adults get so much stick?
Oh, I've gone off. I've gone completely off. I've gone off.
I was really enjoying it.
They get stick because the place is supposed to be because most people, the general public, would say it's for kids. So why do adults want to go and meet Mickey and Minnie? Or why do adults want to come to a place and meet these children's characters when this place is for kids? And I think one of the reasons that Disney adults get so much stick as well is because I think a lot of parents who are not particularly into Disney, who take their kids there because they think it's a place just for kids, they take their kids there and go, these Disney adults are in my way. These adults are taking up a space that my child could have. These adults are in the queue, making the queue to meet Mickey longer. If these adults weren't here, we'd meet him quicker and stuff like that. And it's just like, but what these people fail to see is that everyone's paid the money. I'm trying to stick to the question, but it really, really bugs me. So I've gone off on a tangent already. But I think a majority of people like that who are just taking their kids and are not as into it are just like, these adults are in the way. These adults shouldn't be here. These adults are stood there. My kid can't see the parade. My kid can't see the fireworks because these adults are here. But who are you to try and assume why that Disney adult is here? Who are you to assume why they're at the park? You don't know why they're here. You have no idea why they're here. It could be because they never went as a child. I never went as a child. Went to Paris. I never went to Orlando as a child. I love theme parks. I absolutely love them. I love all theme parks. I love the UK stuff. I love Europe. I love all of it. And I love them for what they are, their own individuality. I love Universal. I love it all. I just think it's great. They're a place you can just get lost in. You can just get lost in. Even parks we've been to in like France and stuff, where I don't really know the characters. I've just gone, yeah, let's go and have a photo of this character. Let's go and have a photo of that character. I just love it. I love the rides. I love the coasters. I love the dark rides. I love the storytelling. I love the artistry. I just love it all.
Yeah.
I just think it's great. Yeah, I answered that question. So
yeah, I think so. I mean, I think just to touch on what you've just said there, I think one of my biggest things, and I honestly believe this, the people that come out with stuff like that, like adults who like Disney are mentally ill,
yeah,
are people that weren't raised on it. Because as I've become an adult, I assumed everybody was raised on Disney because I was.
Well, that's interesting because I assume the same because me, my brothers and my sister, we're all raised on Disney.
Yeah, me and my sisters were.
We had all the VHSs.
Yeah.
New movie came out, we saw it in the cinema. And
you were excited to go to the Disney store in Birmingham because that's where we both grew up.
Absolutely. So
Mountain of plush.
Yeah, so I absolutely loved all of that. And I kind of assumed that all kids were brought up on Disney. It's only when I get to an adult and you start having these conversations with people and people say, oh, I don't really like Disney. I've never really seen any of them. You've never
seen them? Yeah, I know. That's literally my reaction.
I'm just like,
what do you mean you've never seen them?
What kind of childhood was this?
Yeah.
I don't understand. And I guess everyone has different childhood, and I just don't understand the people that didn't have a childhood that was literally laced.
Especially when it's like millennials, considering that millennials grew up with the Disney Renaissance.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you went through your childhood with Disney at its peak. It's not got any better since then. Disney was at its peak and you're telling me that you've never watched Little Mermaid or you've never watched Beauty and the Beast?
Crazy. Little Mermaid was the first film my auntie took me to see
Yeah.
at the cinema. And we went to see that. And I remember that. I remember going. I remember it. And
And
Little
it's,
Mermaid was the first film that I saw on the cinema.
I honestly think that the people that say stuff like that are people that weren't raised on it. And like I said, I didn't actually realize that people weren't raised on it. I thought everybody was because I was.
I did too.
And I just think that you're right. The people that when we are in, I feel like this plays out better when you refer it to Disneyland Paris because it does happen in Orlando. Don't get me wrong. It happens quite a lot in Orlando where, like, for example, we waited, an hour and a half, 2 hours for the perfect shot because we were filming it for Happily Ever After.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was another adult couple next to us who were lovely, but were also getting frustrated by the families around us that had rocked up like 45 minutes before and thought it was okay to push their kids in front or I mean, the poor girl at one point, the balloon came floating up in front of her face, so she literally just pulled it down herself and held on to it.
Yeah.
But I remember being stood there and there was a woman, maybe 4 or 5 people behind us, who was telling her daughter to push all the way through to in front of us and this couple. And I heard the kid go, "Oh, but there's people there." And the mom went, "So you're a kid, push through." As if like, because she's a kid, she's more entitled to that space.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issue with a kid standing in front of me at a parade as long as
No, I don't.
it's going to sound awful now, isn't it? I've got to watch how I say this. As long as they're not in my way, as in, as long as where they're stood is safe. Because if I've got there an hour early and I've taken my space at the curb or I've taken my space wherever I'm taking that space, if you then go and shove your kid in and expect me to take a step back, I don't see why I should do that. I've paid the same money. I'm there to watch this show as well. I've paid my money to be there. I've got every right to be there just as much as that child has. If you as a mom or as a parent or whatever haven't planned your day well enough to get your kid there at the front, then please don't try and shove them
Exactly.
in and make me feel guilty so that I have to step back.
Exactly.
I don't mind a kid coming and standing near me or standing in front of me. The only thing that I worry about is that I'll bump into the child or I'll knock them with my camera.
Yeah.
Or something. Sometimes it's just dangerous, and you can't shove your kid to the front because it's dangerous because other people's elbows and arms are there. Some
Exactly.
people have got cameras hanging off their neck. Usually me, I've got cameras hanging off their neck and things like that. And the last thing I want to do is grab my camera or swing and the camera hit the kid in the face or something like that. But if the mom and the kid is there before me, they're there before me, I'll stand back behind. But what I can't stand is when I've been there for an hour and then 5 minutes before it starts, or even when it started, a parent shove their kid in front of me and expect me to move out of the way.
Yeah.
That really, really annoys me.
And it's me and my sister, who is also a massive Disney fan, were having a conversation probably over a year ago about this and the fact that in the US, there's a lot more Disney adults because Disneyland has been around since the 50s.
Yeah.
Disney World obviously opened in the 70s.
Yeah.
So that's been around for a long time. So there's been people that have grown up with that and they've known that park since they were kids. Like the adorable old couples that you see walking around on their own.
Who probably went on their honeymoon
Yeah.
when they first got married and now they go every year or every other year or something. And now they're in their approaching their 80s or their 70s or whatever. And they're still walking around together because that's where they went when they first got married.
That's where they took their kids.
Or something like that. So they're still going and experiencing it.
Yeah.
And that is it's so cute, isn't it? I absolutely love it.
I do too.
So beautiful.
That's where they took their kids. That's where they took their kids and their grandkids. Their grandkids are now older and maybe taking their own family and they're just going on their own and having a blast. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think that we're now starting to see the Disney adult at Disneyland Paris because, well, within Europe, if you like, because the Disney adult has never had the park to go to. The park we're the first generation that grew up with that
Well,
park.
it's been there 32 years.
Exactly. So millennials are the first group of adults that grew up with that park. Therefore, I think you get it a lot more. It definitely happens in the US because a lot of US people talk about it, but particularly in the UK, sometimes from the baby boomers, and maybe some of our Generation X as well, they'll kind of look at you as if to say, "You're going to Disney?"
Yeah,
Like almost as if like, "Are you okay?"
I get it all the time.
I do too. Hence me saying it.
I said at work. Like, I've said at work, like the people say, "Where are you going on holiday this year?" And I go, "Orlando again." Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yes, that's where we're going.
There's new stuff.
Mhm. So yeah, I think particularly in Europe, that's kind of a thing that we're just starting to see introduced, which is potentially why there is a little bit of that. There's less understanding because our parents didn't grow up with it. Our parents grew no Disneyland Paris or Euro Disney as it was as, oh, we've taken the kids there.
Yeah,
They never went as children.
Yeah.
So they don't understand it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there's potentially a little bit of that playing a part in there as well. It's just really interesting, isn't it, when you break it down as to why people don't understand it.
I think it's fascinating, and we haven't even scratched the surface on this topic yet. If I'm honest, like, this is why I said to you, this is a beefy topic. This is because yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface on. We haven't even scratched the surface on this yet. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Disneyland Paris has been there now long enough that they were now starting to get that Disney adult coming in. Whereas before, I guess when the park first opened back in the early 90s, people were probably a little bit more reserved, a bit more kind of like, what is this? You know, what is this kind of theme park thing that we're going to? Because the theme park was started by Disney.
Yeah.
The theme park was started by Walt Disney. The theme park didn't exist before Walt Disney.
No.
So I guess Americans get it more than we do over here. And I guess now that it's been kind of Paris has been there 32 years, we've got our own theme parks in the UK now with like Alton Towers, Thorpe Park, Chesney World of Adventure. We've got all those. Then you've got all the other stuff in Europe as well. That I guess the theme park is now understood a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to Disney, it's just a whole other, different thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Disney. The Disney parks are different. And when you go to Orlando, again, it's just so different.
Well, that kind of leads us on to our next point that Disney really isn't just for kids. I mean, I think that just to quickly go back to the point that I made about people that weren't raised with Disney, it's quite prominent in Europe in Disneyland Paris, for example, for parents to see that, oh, the kid's the most important, therefore we'll just shove the kid through your legs to the front of the parade.
Happened to me, didn't it? We went to Disneyland Paris for the
Yeah.
Halloween parade.
Yeah.
Stood there waiting for Halloween parade, and then these two kids just got shoved right almost
Yeah.
in front of me.
Like by your knees.
Yeah, and at one point I moved my arm and my elbow hit one of the kids in the head. And I was like,
You did apologize.
yeah, I did say sorry, but this is what happens.
Yeah.
You shove your kid in like that. You know, they're going to get hurt if they're not careful.
But I feel like because Europeans again haven't grown up with that, there a lot of Europeans that haven't grown up with Disney that maybe do have younger kids now are seeing it as, well, it's for kids. I feel like there is still that, particularly in kind of mainland Europe, there is still quite a lot of that mentality.
Yeah.
So I feel like that happens quite a lot. But just to go back, well, we're going on to the kind of next point, is that Disney really isn't just for kids. I mean, you've already spoken about the fact that we probably spend more between us than an average family.
If honestly, if Disney is just for kids and Disney thought it was just for kids, there wouldn't be all these really nice, expensive restaurants that adults can go to.
Exactly. There wouldn't be all these table service restaurants.
The nice dining is definitely aimed at adults.
Yeah.
There's some things that Disney do that are definitely aimed at adults.
Lounges.
Yeah. So Disney want the adult. Disney want the Disney adult.
Disneyland Paris,
they wouldn't create these spaces.
No, I agree. Disneyland Paris, I think, is starting to go more that way. There's a lot more, there seems to be in the work that they're doing a little bit more focus on the dining experience and that kind of.
Is that because they've noticed that they're now 32 years old and they have more Disney adults coming and going?
Potentially.
We need to cater for these people.
Potentially.
We now need to cater for, we now need to make sure that we're catering for these people, just like Disneyland does, just like Disney World does. We need to cater for these people.
Yeah.
And we're currently not catering for these people.
I think so. if Disney was just for kids, then these things wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be the World Showcase.
Yeah.
Because kids are bored walking around the World Showcase. You can see how bored they are. Unless you're taking them on Ratatouille or Frozen, they are bored. Epcot isn't fun until you're 21 because you can't drink.
I agree.
And I know that's quite cliche to say. And when we go, we don't necessarily. I would quite like to do it this year if we can. We don't necessarily drink around the world.
I find it hard in that heat.
It's really hard to drink.
I find it hard to drink.
It's like a water.
Hard to drink in the heat because I'm not from the heat. I can't drink in the heat.
And Epcot is just a sun trap. But we're digressing here.
Again,
the Epcot wouldn't exist if it was just for adults. The resorts wouldn't have all these lovely restaurants that they have if it's just for adults.
Yeah.
Things like Topolino's Terrace, and I know that that's a character dining breakfast, but it's quite a nice character dining breakfast. Like, I'd say the food there, I've not seen the kids menu, but the food there is catered towards adults.
Did you notice that when we were in there,
It was all adults.
it was all adults and there
It was like 4 families.
There wasn't many kids.
No.
It was all couples.
Yeah.
Because
Also groups of friends.
I walked in there and thought, oh, I wonder what this is going to be like. We walked in and I was just like, oh my God, it's full of adults.
Yeah, it's full of Disney adults.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think that's probably my favorite character dining experience to date.
It is.
So yeah, that was really, really good fun. But that's just a prime example, places like Le Cellier, really hard to get a table, depending on the time of year that you go. Again, when we went, it was predominantly adults in the restaurant.
Yeah, it was.
When we went to...
Has the adult price tag on it.
It does have an adult price tag, and you know what? It's worth it.
Yeah.
When we went to Hollywood Brown Derby.
Yeah.
Again, same very adult experience.
Yeah.
Explain to me how this is just for kids. And yeah, you know what? Some people probably say, oh, wow, Disney are ripping you off. That's why. Maybe they are.
Let them.
I'm happy to pay the price.
Let them.
I'm happy with that. But if they want to rip me off,
happy to be ripped
off. Anywhere else, I'd be fuming, but Disney can take my money. So yeah. What I did do, which I thought might be quite interesting, is ask ChatGPT what a Disney adult is.
Oh, how modern of you.
I know. Apparently this is a millennial thing. Then we saw a TikTok or an Instagram reel of some Gen Z kid the other day going, can millennials stop using ChatGPT for everything, didn't we? Do you remember? You showed it me.
Yeah.
So would you like to hear what ChatGPT says a Disney adult is?
I would love to hear what ChatGPT thinks a Disney adult is. Hear it.
So ChatGPT's response was, hey, because I always start off with, hey, ChatGPT, because it's a person. You have to talk to it like it's a person. Hey, a Disney adult is basically someone who loves Disney a lot. Like, not just a casual fan, but somebody who goes all in on the parks, movies, merch, characters, even as an adult. They might visit the Disney parks regularly, often without kids, collect ears, pins, lounge fire bags, etc. Watch the movies on repeat, yes, including the obscure ones. Know all the ride opening dates and hidden park secrets. Have a Disney-themed home, wedding, or wardrobe. No comment. Cry at the fireworks and hum the parade music in public. It's a term that can sometimes get a bit of a side eye online, but for many people, being a Disney adult just means that they've kept their sense of wonder and joy from childhood. It's a freedom, a lifestyle, and in some case, a personality. Some wear it proudly, others deny it while booking their 3rd Disney trip this year. And then it said, are you one? And put the side eye emoji.
Yeah, it has, yeah. That's really funny.
I think that's summed it up pretty perfectly, to be honest. I think that, for me, that describes exactly what it is to be a Disney adult. It's about having that sense of wonder and keeping that kind of inner child, letting that inner child come out to play, because for whatever reason, it might just be that you never got to experience that as a kid. It might be that, you went through stuff as a kid that meant you had to grow up quite fast. But I think the fact that you can kind of let that inner child out in that environment is a beautiful thing. And I think for me, the reason that why do I like Disney so much? I think the reason that I like Disney so much as an adult, and especially going to the parks and Disney World in particular, is that escapism. It's that when you're in that Disney bubble, your brain mine at least, just empties, and the real world doesn't really exist for those 2 weeks that we're there. Nothing else matters. It's just you and whoever you're with in that environment, having a fantastic time and, you know, allowing yourself to kind of be free. You know, if you want to dance down the streets to the parade music, then go for it. No one's judging you.
We have done that.
We have done that with other people.
Yeah.
It's been great. And you know what? People are just there to have a good time. That's what it is for me, I think.
Mhm.
What about you?
For me, I think it's very much similar to what you said, really. It's just that escapism. I mean, as I previously said, I do love theme parks. I love all theme parks. I love the storytelling element of them, and Disney is is just that extra thing, isn't it? It's just
They're exceptional storytellers.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say, but I was going to say it a different way, but I didn't really like the way I was going to say it. But yeah, they're exceptional storytellers, and that's the same for Universal as well. Universal are absolutely great at it, and I love it. And Universal are building on that, and they're getting better and better and better.
Yeah, they are.
For me, it's that escapism. It's once you're in that park, there, nothing else matters. I love trying to do everything that I can do in the parks. I love the food. I love the different themed food that you can get. I love seeing the characters. I love meeting the characters. Parades make me go giddy. Parades make the hair stand up on the back of my neck. I love all of that. I love seeing characters that I've not seen before. I really enjoy that. I enjoy the photo spots. I enjoy taking pictures of myself with different props or characters if I can. I love that just kind of that immersive world that we're now getting from these parks. I love getting my photo with these in these immersive worlds, or doing something that is just like, this is cool. I'm in the movie or something like that. And I think for me, the first thing I could think of there is like ogres. Going to ogres and then having the stormtroopers walking. It's just like, oh my God, I'm in this world. It's great. And I absolutely love that. And I think that's why I love it. Yeah.
I think one of the things that kind of sums it up perfectly to me is, I know I've talked about the conversation that me and my sister had earlier about Disney adults. But when she was able to take my nephew, who I think at the time was 2, to Disneyland Paris for the first time, and she hadn't been since we were kids. She was in her early teens, I think, when we went last as a family to Disneyland Paris. When they were there, I got a message from her saying, "I get it. I get why you like it so much." And I don't want to come home, because you're so immersed in it that if you are, maybe you're an anxious person, maybe you suffer from depression, maybe you are, I think a lot of the time it speaks to the neurodivergent community as well for this reason, because you're so immersed in it that your brain empties. So if you've got a lot going on in your head, if you're the type of person that mentally your head is very noisy, it's the perfect place for you to go and for all of that just to quieten down for a bit. Your head just is a lot quieter, I find, when I'm there.
I think at Disney as well, and I think at most theme parks actually, but especially with Disney and stuff, with the depth of the stories that they have and the characters they have, it's just immediate acceptance,
Yeah.
isn't it? Everyone else who's there, like all of the Disney adults who were there, if you see an adult walking around with like the Mickey, like the ears on, the mini ears on, and things like that, you just know that they are a fellow Disney adult and things like that, and you just know that they're going to get it. They're going to understand it. They're going to understand why you love it so much. And what's weird about Disney as well is that some people are really into the rides, and some people actually go to Disney and don't like rides.
Don't do rides.
Which again is something that I've found out recently.
Yeah.
That some people just go and don't like thrill rides or don't like the rides. They don't like Tower of Terror. They don't like anything that's thrilling. And they go for the atmosphere, they go for the theatrics, they go for the characters, they go for all of that stuff, the food, but they don't go for the rides, which I find crazy.
I feel like we could easily do a part 2 on
Quite
Disney adult. So we've got time for a quick hot take break before we wrap this episode up then. Do you want to start with your hot take for this episode?
Yeah, okay. So my hot take is Soarin's overrated.
You know my feelings on this.
Yeah, I know. You love it, don't you?
I love it. Explain. Defend yourself.
Defend myself. It's overrated. It's just, I don't know. I just didn't think it was that good. It's just a bit like, I can literally take it or leave it. I'm really not bothered with it. It's I guess it's a nice ride. I suppose I just prefer what's it called?
Flight Passage.
Flight of Passage. I just prefer Flight of Passage. I just think it's the same thing, and I prefer Flight of Passage million times over.
Flight of Passage is a lot more immersive.
I rode Flight of Passage and I had tears in my eyes when when it gets to the end and you kind of just like look over the land, and I had tears in my eyes. I was like, this is amazing. It's so emotional and it really captures you. And I just felt that Soaring was just a bit kind of like, okay. And I'll always go back on you know what I'm going to say. I think it must have been where I was sat, but everything was just like curved and bent because obviously the screen is.
Yeah.
And I think where I was sat, and I just kind of sat and just went, this isn't great. And it was just obvious to me that it wasn't real. Do you know what I mean? It just broke the immersion for me straight away. And I was just like, it's quite kind of a long queue, and it's kind of a long, like, getting into it. And it's, all this. And then you fly over and everything's all like curved, and it's like, oh, get me off. Put me on Frozen.
Okay.
Put me on Frozen Ever After. So yeah, I just wasn't that into it. And then we rode for Flight of Passage, and I was like, oh my God, it's so full of emotion. It's so good. I was just like, now can I love Soaring when this is just, there's no emotion in Soaring. It's just a bit flat.
Okay.
So I just wasn't really.
I think that like the score to it and the smells and the sounds and everything that you get with it is what makes it.
Nah, not really. No.
The score is like,
I've never smelt anything in there.
the score to that ride is so beautifully put together. I absolutely love it. And sometimes if either I need to concentrate, I might put the Disney Parks playlist on, or if I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic and I just want a little bit of like some Disney memories, I'll put that on. And it makes me feel really emotional. And I'm sure that I'm not the only person, but I love that score. It's classic, like Disney World perfection. You're entitled to your opinion, but disagree. Annoyingly, I think you're going to agree with my opinion on the next one.
Okay, go on.
So my hot take for this episode is, and people are going to hate me for saying this, Epcot's the weakest park at Walt Disney World.
It is.
It is.
I think some people it's their favourite park. And I think some people would say to you, Animal Kingdom is the weakest park. But I would disagree with that. I would disagree. So when it's an Animal Kingdom day, I'm so excited. I'm like, yes, we've got Pandora today. We've got Everest today. I get really excited. And with the new stuff coming, I think it's only going to get better. It's only going to be a better park. It's a shame we're losing Dinosaur, but I think it is a more superior park to Epcot.
I know that I've just spoken of my love for Soaring, but I honestly believe that Epcot is the weakest park at Walt Disney World. Some people do it as their first day. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, that's mad.
I think that's crazy.
Castle Park's your first day.
Anybody, yeah, I'm not going to get into the whole Castle Park on your first day thing, because I know that a lot of people don't do that. And actually, I did watch a vlog the other day where somebody went to Animal Kingdom on their first day, which is very wise, because a lot of the time coming from the UK, you're jet lagged up at like 4 a.m. anyway, so you might as well get to the earliest park. Actually quite clever. But it's not Castle Park, so still not. I'm old with it.
I couldn't enjoy that. I'd feel like I was cheating on them.
Yeah, I would too.
Kingdom.
I would too.
It wouldn't feel right to me to do it that way.
But I just feel like, I know it's got some amazing rides. It's got Soarin', it's got Ratatouille, it's got Guardians, it's got Frozen Ever After. But I just feel like it's just lacking, and it feels like people are going to get exposed to. It feels so disjointed between World Showcase and kind of Epcot. And, I don't know if it's because we don't have that kind of original Epcot nostalgia as to what Epcot was,
because we haven't been visiting it as a kid,
because we never saw it as it was in the 90s and the noughties and whatever. Whether that's why we feel the way that we do about it, I don't know. But don't get me wrong, I enjoy going around the World Showcase. I enjoy going to the food festivals, getting drinks from the various locations around the world and trying new things.
Yep.
But I don't know, I just don't. I feel like when we're in Epcot, and I know that you feel the same way because we've said it to each other before, we always end up saying to each other, I don't feel like we're doing Epcot right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Because everyone loves it, but we don't. And I'm always like, are we just not doing this right? Are we not seeing it? Are we not seeing it how you're meant to see it? I know that people are going to hate me for saying that
No.
it's the weakest park on Walt Disney World property, but I honestly think it is. Obviously, we're not talking about water parks here, but out of the 4, Epcot's the weakest one.
100%.
Epcot's 4th, if I
100%.
had to rank them.
Definitely.
It's weird because I sometimes do get emotional, especially around Spaceship Earth and hearing the music around there, the kind of entrance loop of Epcot. That can make me quite emotional, especially at night time, especially when we're getting towards the end of the trip. But I stand by what I said.
I think the thing with Epcot is there's a lot to explore. There's a lot to unpack with Epcot. And I think you can do it in so many different ways. And even though now we've been 3 times, we still haven't unpacked probably even half of what you can do there.
Probably.
So I think with Epcot, there's so much to unpack that it's a different trip every time.
Yeah.
Because it just depends how you do it. Like even this year when we go now, we'll probably end up doing it differently to how we've done it before.
Probably.
There's so many restaurants to explore. There's so much to do. Attraction wise, I think it's a struggling park when it comes to attractions.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of controversy between putting IPs in there, not having IPs in there. I don't like all the old attractions they've had in there before because I just have no nostalgia for them. Like you said, Figment, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'll never get it. I just don't get it. All this imagination stuff. I'm just not into it. I'm really sorry. I can't.
I agree.
So yeah, I think it's a different, because of all that, I think it's a different park for every individual person.
Yeah.
Everyone sees it in a different way and does it differently. And I think that's just, I mean, it's a different part to what Walt wanted.
Yeah.
Walt didn't even want it as a theme. It wasn't even supposed to be a theme park. So
I think when I look at it, the reason that I say it's the weakest park is when I look at the pavilions, that side of Epcot.
Yeah.
Living with the Land.
Yeah.
Boring. Sorry. I know you all love it.
No,
It's boring.
I don't.
We did it once.
Did it once and never again.
Never again. Same with Figment, Genie and the Imagination.
Yeah.
Once, never again. Test Track, I find it really boring. I will re-ride it.
Interested to see what
when they've done whatever they've done with it.
Yeah.
But I found it really boring. And I know that we've watched people before that say, if you can drive, it's really not that exciting. It's more for kids.
Yeah.
I agree. Guardians, great, cracking, amazing ride.
But that's your IP coming
in.
Yeah.
Spaceship Earth, I enjoy. You don't. Journey into the Seas Pavilion, Journey to the Seas of Nemo and Friends, quite boring.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that when we did that.
I found that quite boring.
Yeah.
So
Moana stuff's quite nice.
Moana,
but I think
way of water stuff is nice.
Once you've done it a couple of times, is it revisitable?
Not really. Is it something you'll go and do every visit?
No,
Probably not.
Not unless you want to redo your photos.
Yeah.
It's probably the only reason you'd go in there. And you'd probably go in there, walk through it all, do your photos and walk out.
Yeah, the photo op in there is very nice.
It's very, very nice. I really like that photo op, especially as it gets dark. It's a very nice photo.
Golden hour.
But you'd just walk through it, do your photo op and walk out, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So it's not really revisitable.
It's a nice vibe in there. It's very kind of relaxing if you can get it at the right time and there's not kids everywhere. Like the first time we went in there.
God, Jim, that was too many.
Yeah, it was a bit of sensory overload. But yeah, I think that exactly what we've just said there. That's my opinion. Let us know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree. I'm sure that a lot of you will disagree, but let us know why. If you think that we're doing Epcot wrong, then let us know.
Please do.
Because I'd love to come away from a day at Epcot going, do you know what? That was perfect. But I always come away going, I feel like we did that wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wrap on this episode of Exit Through the Gift Shop. So thanks for hanging out with us.
If you enjoyed the ride, make sure you follow, subscribe, and maybe leave us a little review if you're feeling nice. It really helps other pop culture fans find us.
Got a question, hot take, or random thought? Send it our way. We love hearing what you guys are thinking.
And don't forget to check us out over on YouTube at It's Rob and Matt for even more theme park adventures. So
until next time, stay magical, stay chaotic, and as always, exit through the gift shop.